Hello, and welcome to Kickin' Crocs, the podcast. We talk about martial arts stuff, geeky stuff, and all sorts of
stuff.
Today we're discussing beards. No.
Exactly.
We can discuss beards on this podcast.
I think facial hair will be part of it. We'll just talk about preferred facial hair.
Yes. Well,
What?
And
my
good
name
grooming.
is Steve, and my preferred facial hair is this about 5 millimeter trim, where it accentuates the jawline. And so that's my beard facial hair.
All right, I'm Dave. I change my beard all the time. Some different thicknesses.
We prefer 8 gauge, though. And I am Nick, and I don't measure my beard, but it does its thing, and then I shave it off and start it over again.
And we have with us today a guest whose beard puts our beards to
Special guest.
Chris Kringle. No.
Exactly.
Kids, this is what Santa Claus really looks like.
Physically fit Chris Kim Kringle. Exactly.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year.
Better be good, or I'll choke you into submission before you get any gifts.
Yeah. No, in all actuality, this guest, he is a fellow martial artist. He's trained in I believe 2 different styles, if you include ours. 2 different styles. He runs Spartan races with me and Dave. If you include our style, he trains in 2 different styles.
Why wouldn't we include our style?
Why does he keep saying if?
If
You're,
you
get through an
include
intro.
what he's
Yeah.
currently
I
doing.
just want to get through an intro.
we're gonna edit Steve out.
You know, I have to go back and see when was the last time I got through a whole intro without being interrupted. It
Our
was a
first
long-
episode.
If you include our
That's
first
because I
episode-
wasn't on the call. Yeah, exactly.
It was a long.
If you
Yeah.
include the first episode,
It was a
then
long time ago.
None.
But anyway, so we have Joe Koppenhaver here with us today,
Joe.
everybody.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe just ran
boy.
a Spartan race with us.
He did.
Yes,
Well,
I
he
did.
run many a Spartan race with us, but he ran this last
4.
hard one.
4?
Many.
Yeah, it is.
4
Four's more
is
than the
4
none that
many.
I ran, so that's a great job.
Before we get to the Spartan race, though, can we just acknowledge these awesome Crocs that he's wearing right now? The light up limited edition light up
Nice.
Lightning McQueen Crocs that he has on. They
Bam.
are absolutely awesome.
I got those for my nephew, and he's got 2 pair.
Nice.
He has not opened the 1 pair. He said, maybe I'll sell it on the internet. I'm like, oh, you're such a team.
One more shot for the audience. Go, give it a shot.
Boom.
They are lighting. If you're listening, they're light. These things light up. They are a special edition. They're
Oh,
awesome
yeah.
looking.
These
They
were
look-
courtesy of my wife. She got them for me.
Nice.
What a nice
Are
gift.
you
That
like a
is
Queen
cool.
fan?
I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
I like
It works.
I like the movie. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but she saw the limited edition and got these for me. I wear the
Have to,
Crocs when
yeah.
I let the dogs out, so
Yeah.
she's like, you can see in the dark with these. I'm like,
Yeah.
perfect.
Exactly.
There you go.
That's the
You
way to
always
do
know
it.
where I am.
I mean, we wouldn't admit to the Lightning McQueen boxers, but we'll stick with the the Crocs.
Those do not light up.
Exactly.
Thank goodness.
I got to find my way to the restroom. So
So we did just do a Spartan race with you this past weekend's last Saturday.
This was so you started off light like everybody does with sprints like early on,
Yes.
and then you stepped it up to the hardest super on this coast.
No, he did the Vernon Super first before he did the hardest
Yeah, the
one.
Vernon. Well, yes,
Yeah.
but the Vernon Super is nothing
Compared to this,
That
yes, it
is
is.
100% true. That
So what was the name of this race that you attended for folks that
Palmerton,
don't?
Blue Mountain.
Palmerton. Got it. Okay.
Poconos, PA.
So mileage, how many miles? Let's give them some
It
details.
came to
So-
about 15 total, but they
No, it came to like 8 or 9 total.
I don't think it was 15.
No, it was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 15's like a beast. This
You
was
were
like 8 or
you were
9.
so close, Steve.
No, I
might
have
be
it on my
thinking
watch.
of a beast. Yeah, I might be thinking of a
Yeah.
beast.
No, this was 8 or
All
9.
right.
but-
Leave the
it
account.
was-
Palmerton feels like a beast.
It was
so
about, I think it was actually 8 miles, but it feels like.
It feels like it was a beast.
How many
But only 6
obstacles?
Spartan miles.
Yeah.
Only 6. Only 6.
So how many obstacles do you think, give or take?
Joe actually knew how many. Right?
How many, Joe?
25.
25.
Says it on the shirt. Oh,
But
yeah.
not that matters, because it's the mountain that's
Yeah.
the devastating factor.
Oh, yes. I was not prepared for how much harder that would be. Although
It's
everyone says how much harder it's going to be, and everyone says, this is like the second hardest on the East Coast or the
Yeah.
hardest. And
well, it's,
although,
it's the hardest super,
Mm-hmm.
second hardest race because Killington exists, which is a beast, which is
Yes.
a longer
Oh, okay.
distance.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's the only reason why it's harder is because it's longer.
and the legendary sandbag carry.
Yes.
But even knowing how everyone says it's going to be that much harder, and that didn't do it justice.
Yeah.
That did not quite prepare you for how much harder.
Whenever
it
I
really
try
was
to
gonna be.
explain it to people, like I'll tell people like, "Oh, it's a pretty hard race," and like, "Oh, okay," and like you'll be like, "Oh, you have to do this," and then like, "Oh, okay, sounds tough," but you're like, you don't know, you haven't,
You have to do it.
you have to do it, and then once you do it, you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I
mean,
get it."
Saying how hard it is and saying how much harder it is didn't help prepare for the actual event itself and being that much more difficult than Mountain Creek.
Yeah.
It was way harder.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was so let's go with your favorite obstacle. Like when you're like, man, I'm gonna crush this one.
Favorite obstacle. Boy.
Jumping over the fire at the end.
Yeah, I know we're done.
One.
Well, I know favorite moment in the race. Not moment, but like favorite moment, that epic sandbag carry, which is, so the sandbag carry at Palmerton's legendary because it's longest sandbag carry. It takes forever. And you go down this double black diamond ski slope with 60 pounds on your back.
Kristen Worth knows what the hell.
On your back? You're not
feels
shoulder carrying
You
it?
can shoulder, you can put it across
Any
your
way you
shoulders.
wanna carry
You
it.
can hold
Okay,
it. It's
they
a
don't care.
60-pound pancake.
That's heavy.
So you go down, and then you turn around and you go back up.
Oh,
So
geez.
usually you go up first and then come around and come down. This is the reverse. You go down, you turn around, and come back up. So everybody coming up takes breaks. So you stop, you rest. And Joe is ahead of me,
Barely.
and I would take a break, he would take a break, and then we ended up like right next to each other.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we're gonna go a little bit. So we walk a little bit together, and then we would stop. And we walk a little bit together, and then we stop. And then we hit to one point, we're like, all right, we kind of see the top. So we're like, all right, let's just go to the end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna stop if I have to, but let's see if we can do it. And then we just look at each other. I kept waiting for him to stop.
Neither one of them are going to stop.
Nice.
Yeah. I figured at that point if I stopped, that
You're
would
not
have been
starting
it.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
So we
So here's my question:
marched it.
when you stop, you keeping the bag up or you putting
No,
the
no,
bag down?
I
No.
put it down and sit down.
I
Yeah.
put it down.
Put it down
Okay.
and sit down on it. Yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
don't
Yeah.
sit down.
It
but
is
I
a
put the
double
bag down.
black diamond. You are
Yeah,
like,
vertical. Yeah.
yeah,
Almost vertical.
You have to sit down and like. Don't underestimate 60 pounds in your
Dude, oh no, 60 pounds is heavy on straight ground, right? On the
Yeah.
bag, the bag it moves on you, like it shifts the weight.
Yeah.
So now you're carrying it uphill or downhill. Forget it. I used to lift those bags for the flour at the restaurant, so I know. Forget it. Running it up and down the
It
street.
is.
And it's an awkward shape to try to carry.
Yeah, because it's round.
Yeah, so there's
Oh,
no
the bag's
easy-
not
yeah.
a bag.
It's a pancake.
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
pancake.
It's a pancake. They call it a Spartan pancake. So it's like a
Circular.
it's a circle of what's it?
It's like a tough mesh fabric.
It's like a mesh fabric. Like I'm trying.
Is it
I
easier
have a
to
word in my
grab? Is
head.
that why they do that way?
No,
It's like a canvas bag.
Yeah.
But it's a circular canvas,
Oh,
and it's just full of sand. But it's a circle, so it looks like a
Yeah,
pancake.
that's
so they
weird.
call it a Spartan pancake,
Huh.
and it's 60 pounds. So it's just this circle, no handles, just a seam that runs around like a uncrustable.
and
That's-
the seam's big enough to make you think you can grab it,
Yeah.
but small enough to not actually be able to grab it.
oh, great. It's a
It's like
tease.
just picture a 60-pound uncrustable.
Sure.
What it
Yes,
is.
yes.
Yeah. So you're carrying a giant 60-pound uncrustable.
If there are any kids that don't know what Uncrustables are, shame on you.
Yeah.
I'm just excited that Steve knows.
Yeah, I do.
We're finally not super old with that
Yeah,
comparison.
right.
So good job. A lot of times Steve's like, I'm not with you.
Well, so this is the first time we're talking about this race with Nick. We intentionally didn't tell him anything because we knew we were going to talk about it this podcast.
Okay.
I think we
Yeah.
should backtrack to the beginning of the race
That was eventful.
where
Yeah,
a certain
yeah, yeah, we had a
eventful
beginning.
thing happened. So we were going up the first mountain, the very first mountain. We can each tell our perspectives of what happened here. Actually, no.
I love when the story starts with the first mountain.
Yeah, the
You're
first
like, wait, there's more?
the first mountain that we were going up. Here, we'll start with Joe. Joe, what was your perspective of what happened on that first mountain?
So it was an interesting start because they've got the kids race. We had Jay, who was with us. His kids were running.
Yeah.
My daughter ran the last city field with me. And so you start out, the kids are separate, and then you got the adult start. You do a couple small obstacles. Everyone gets ready. You get hyped up. And then you're going straight up the mountain.
Yeah.
Like, it's rough. At this point, as you're going up the start for the adult race, the kids race, part of their part of their course was right next to us.
Yeah, it runs like parallel. And it's important to point out, too, this was a very hot day.
Yes, it was very hot and almost no shade where we're running.
Like
So
a
we start
90-degree
up,
day.
We start up the trail that we're running up, and the kids race are right next to us.
So just can't go. Touch your mouth a little bit. There you go.
The kids race came up to like the first little plateau and then came back down. So running parallel to them. As we get up, a couple hundred yards, couple hundred feet.
We're up.
I think it was Danielle that was running with us looked over and noticed a kid fell.
Yeah, Danielle and Steve are like a little bit ahead of us because those two are monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And
The youngins.
yeah.
I prefer that over a monster.
So Danielle noticed, right?
Yeah, she noticed
And
the
then-
kid fall and then not get back up. So
Okay.
And then
she became concerned, and then we heard another kid say, "Oh, he's down." He kept going, and there was a dad there, I think, helping his son, kind of pushing him through the race. So we all walked over because the kid wasn't getting back up.
so Danielle and Steve and Joe kind of cut across. Because you can cut across the grass to where the kids race.
Yeah, it was just like it was almost like the end of a ski run. You know, it's wide open.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty big area. We run over, and then the kid is
Flatlined. He's out. Wow.
He's out, eyes closed.
Was it from the heat? Did he drop off? He fall somewhere?
Heat and dehydration. So
That
Pretty
quick,
sure.
huh?
Yeah.
pretty
pick up-
sure that's what it was. I mean,
to pick up off of that. So Danielle had been a little bit ahead, and I was looking straight ahead. She was looking this way, apparently, because she had heard a parent yelling bloody murder at one of their kids to keep going. Like, come on. So she was getting angry at this parent
because there was one parent that's like,
who was being a little too hard.
yeah, he was
on
like,
the kid.
it's a race, leave him behind.
Yeah,
Like that kind
it
of
was being a
thing.
little too hard. So she was getting
What?
angry at the parents, so she was turning to look at that. And then I heard her say, I think he just passed out.
Yeah, like he's done.
And
Yeah.
I look, so I turn and look. Now the grass was pretty tall, so I'm looking around and like I don't see anybody. So, but then I see another kid walking, and like he's walking, he's fine. And then that kid points and goes, "Hey, he passed out." And so I follow the direction of his finger, and now I see that there's a body there. I'm like, oh. So I ran over. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a medical guy. All I knew was that he was face down.
We have
I was like,
CPR
okay,
certification.
He should probably,
Yeah.
He should probably be face up. So I flipped him over to being face up. And then luckily there was another guy named Max, right? It was his name?
So what happened was, you flipped him,
Mm-hmm.
and while this is going on, one of the people that was close to that ran to go get a medic. Right? That was that was like one of the dads. He ran to go get a medic. So Kelsey and I, because Joe was already over there, Steve was already over there, Danielle was over there. So we're like, we're not going to go over there. We don't want to crowd them. But as they're doing their thing and they're somebody screaming for medic, and the guy runs down, I'm on the course still. Like Kelsey and I are there, and I go, does anybody have any medical background? And this guy that's coming up the mountain goes, hey, I'm an EMT. I said, oh, my crew over there, there's a kid passed out. He goes, okay. His name was Max.
Max.
So he cut across.
He just happened to be running, so he wasn't
was
an
just
EMT
running
for
up behind
Spartan.
us.
He was just
EMT in general.
He was off
He was a
duty.
Spartan
He was a
racer,
fellow.
yeah.
He was a fellow
Thank
racer.
goodness he was
Well,
there.
he thought he was off duty.
He was
Yeah,
just
right.
he was just a fellow racer
Clock
coming
in.
up, and I'm like, does anybody have medical experience? This kid's down, and he's like, yo, I'm an EMT. I'm like, oh man, that kid's down. See where my whole team is, and he goes, cuts right across the grass. So we're interrupting
cool.
his race to go.
Hey, you know what though?
there.
Minus that one guy, everyone else did the right thing.
So
I mean,
Max
you can't
got
leave the
to
kid
cross.
sitting.
Yeah. So Max is helping. Luckily, checking eyes. The kid, he was out though. So we just kind of all stood there to keep him out of the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Smart.
gathered around him.
Shirt off, and I'm like, all right, shoes got to
waved
come
the
off.
shirt at us
Yep.
to get some.
And then
I
the
think
kids.
the one concerning thing was he was wearing long pants.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's
he was,
concerning.
We found out he was 13, but like, way too hot to be wearing long pants.
And then his brother did make it up the mountain.
his older
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
made
His
it
older
up
brother
there.
made up the mountain, so he was like, I'm right here with you. Like,
yeah, but like it was, I mean, shirt off,
It took
shoes
a good
off,
10
socks
minutes
off.
So
for
it was like
actual
10 to
on
12
staff
minutes.
Smart moves.
So it was like 10 to 12 minutes for the actual Spartan medical team to get there, and it didn't even look like they were going there because they started to drive by. There was 4 people in this cart, so I don't know how they're fitting anybody, and they start to drive past. And
Yeah.
so we're all waving like, "Yo!"
Well, you know
it's
what happened
here,
was
here.
another crew showed up. 2 other guys showed up after they were already bringing them over to this other.
We're like,
ATV.
"Yo!"
So it took them too long. It took them too long.
So
And especially considering you could
Now,
see the start from
so
where we
who
were.
hiked him on the back? Was it his brother? His
Yeah.
brother picked him up, put him on his back.
Now,
and ran him
at this
over.
point in time, did
And then
he
Max
wake up
the
at
EMT
all?
Yes,
A little
yes.
bit.
And then
A
Max,
little
the
bit.
EMT, was like, okay, his pulse was this. And he
Yeah.
started. And then, yeah.
Yeah, Max was like, all right, once he started coming around, it was like, eyes were opening barely. He's got him squeezing his hand, he's got him sticking his tongue
His
out.
mom did make it up the course, too.
Yeah, I think she came up with the
came-
medics.
yeah.
It seemed. But luckily his brother came up because I was like, we got as much clothing off as we could, get him cooled down. We're all standing in a line just keeping the sun off of him. And then just kind of carried him over and all his stuff over to the EMTs, the Spartan medics. And luckily Max there was helping. He's like, checking his pulse, like Dave said. And he was awake, squeezing hands, sticking his tongue out. So he wasn't super dehydrated because, he was checking. He's like, okay, you can stick his tongue out. He can see and he can understand his name, but he was still like, he was out of it.
So just to check, this is Mountain 1.
This was
this is the first couple hundred.
This is the kids race just hits that.
I know, but still, I'm just like, okay. We just got out of our cars.
So we take off.
Literally, that's what we felt.
So
like.
once we know the
that's
kid's
a great start to this race.
The kid's safe. We know he's in good hands. We take off, and then Max is with us for a little bit. We're like, oh, thanks, man. Didn't mean to kill your time. He's like, my goal is just to finish. He's like, I'm actually on vacation this week. And his buddy that's running with was like, hey, is that billable hours? Or are you gonna bill?
I was just gonna say, Steve. Yep, exactly right.
So it was pretty funny, but like, dude, it was a hot race, and then. Like I said, that gets in Jay's head because his kids are running at noon.
Yeah.
Even hotter.
And while this is going on, kids are still running that race, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to
There's
block
so
off
many
what's
kids
going on.
coming around though that look like
Crying.
like death when they're coming.
Oh man.
Yeah, there was that one little girl that
oh
we
my
were kind of trying to direct the kids around because they see the big crowd standing there and they're not sure what to do. And it's like, oh no, you go around, just kind of stay to the side. And this one poor little girl, she was hurting. Like, she just looked like she was struggling. And so now we're like, hey, guys, calm down. Take it easy. Like, if you have to stop, stop. And I think that was the one thing that kind of annoyed me about the kids' races. There was no one at
There was
that
no
spot.
Coaching them.
volunteer at that time.
Yeah. And
was
they
nobody up
couldn't, like, where the kid passed out, the people at the bottom couldn't see that part.
No.
Because he kind of went up the hill and flattened out a little bit.
And it's
it was
also
tall grass.
and they just tape it off, so the kids
No,
have to
but
know to go
but
up
I
and
feel
turn
like if
around.
you're having a kids event and a kids race, you need to have someone in every
so what we did
plane
was,
that could be visible.
So Spartan sends out like a little feedback on the race. So I know myself, Kelsey,
Yep, same.
and Danielle all mentioned like
Andrew,
there needs to be. Oh, you did too.
Yep.
There needs to be somebody at the top of those kids races because they should have. So mostly volunteers work the obstacles, but there are paid staff. The paid staff need to be at the kids races,
Especially on a hot day like that because there's so many kids.
and like an adult nose can figure out like the tape, like oh I'm turning around.
yeah, but a kid.
Kids don't know
Also,
that.
I don't think a kid knows like they're passing out. Like
Yeah,
the
like-
kid might keep going.
Yeah.
When an adult pushes too hard, you start getting faint. And if you're going to push hard, you should know better. But, some people do. But the kids, like I'm sure he had plenty of signs leading up to that and just didn't know to think about it. And especially wearing long pants on a hot day.
Like should I take these pants off?
Like,
Maybe
yeah.
like tie them around my wrist so I get them
did
off.
I drink enough water? Because it's not something kids think about. So
Not at all.
They don't think about any prep work going into this.
Yeah, they're kids. They're just showing up, having
They're
fun.
there to have fun.
So that was the one down. Like that was like the down. So it cost us like 12 minutes, which is nothing. But it was the one
Grand
like
scheme of things now.
it was like oh man, that's a interesting start to the race.
It was at the very beginning, and I was like, oh, this is
And then poor
bad
Jay,
start.
his kids are running at noon when it's gonna be like way hotter.
Way hotter.
So he's like, oh man,
They did it though.
yeah.
How long is the kids race?
2
There
miles.
was
2 miles were what James
I could do the kids race.
there was a 1.5 and a 3 kilometer for the kids.
Yeah,
Depending on the age.
you go by age.
So Jay's 3 kids ran the 3 kilometer, sorry.
yeah.
So 2 miles kind of.
They said it was hard though. They
Yeah.
yeah.
And they said there was only 2 water stations for the kids race.
Which is
That is dumb.
ridiculous.
Especially when you know it's going to be 90 degrees. Like they knew all week. You had 10 days of 90
Well,
degrees.
and I know they set their priority.
Like, double
on
it up.
They set their priority on like the big event for the adults.
Yeah.
But, like then don't have a kids race.
Yeah.
Then don't do the kids race. Like that's
Yeah, because like we said, kids don't know any better.
They don't.
And it's
like,
hard for them.
Parents can be on the
Yeah.
like Kelsey and I. Declan's gonna do it when he's older, but we'll run the freaking course with him. Like
But,
Yeah.
but
There's no
even,
reason not
even
to.
being on the course at certain spots,
It's
that was
hard.
a heck of a climb there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's not a lot of parents that are going to climb that
Yeah,
hill with
exactly.
their kids.
It was a heck of a
'cause
climb.
Let's be honest, most of the kids are going to be back down by the time the parent gets up to the top.
Right,
So,
yeah.
you know, it's, and it's hot, and if you're not prepared to be running with your kid,
Yeah,
They're gonna
that's
be
all you
just as
need.
bad
I
running
was
up
going
the
to
hill,
say, that's
too.
all you need is your kids.
Start-
We passing out on your kids now,
Yeah.
you know?
I kept so that race too was the first race in all these years that I've been racing where we're in Steve's car.
Hi.
My contact ripped.
Oh yeah.
So I ran this entire race like Master Alex, blind in one eye. I took out
How'd
the
it feel?
contact. So I had one in, one out, and I had to keep reminding myself.
Did he walk like sideways the whole time?
No, but every now and then I'd forget that I had one in, one out, and I'm like, oh, my vision's going blurry. Like, this is
I'm about to pass
oh, wait,
out.
no.
But I don't have any contact
This
yet.
eye's still good. One.
You're like, nope, it's not blurry. Okay, we're
Yeah.
And
good.
then I
yeah.
immediately, as soon as the race ended, I took the other one out. Cause I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Then I was blind.
Were you
for dinner.
driving or no?
No.
All right, that's fine.
You
know-
just said in Steve's car. You just
He
prefaced
can
that.
still be driving.
In Steve's
Yeah.
car.
That's true.
No.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't care whose car it is.
You don't want to be fully blind on those trails because
It's
they're
tough.
rocky. You got to pay
It's
attention
tough.
to where you're stepping.
There was a lot of downhill that was really hard where
Yeah.
it almost felt like you're going to rip out the front of your shoes because
Yeah,
you're just
yeah,
you're
yeah,
trying to keep yourself, especially when you're a little bit heavier on the than the other guys.
Steve.
Like,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
Gravity's working against you extra hard. You're just trying to keep your feet from going out from underneath you. Some of the downhills were just as hard as the rest of the event. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like
on
the
the knees
down-
too. It's hard on the knees.
I
going
feel like the
down.
downhill for me, 'cause I used to do trail running and trail biking. The downhill was the worst for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, like, you're looking at it differently. Like when you're going uphill, I don't know what it is, but like, mentally, I feel like uphill isn't as, like daunting. But when I look downhill, I'm like, oh, I gotta
I don't know,
get down
they
and
all-
not fall.
it
You know
all
what I mean?
stinks.
Well, now not looking
Prior
up a
to running
mountain.
this race, I would have agreed with you, but
Yeah, not looking up a mountain.
yeah, I think the worst part was the sandbag carry. And, we
Yeah.
kind of mentioned earlier the favorite part probably was for me again finishing that sandbag because of how terrible it is.
Yeah.
But me only running 4 events, and I didn't start till last year when I was 42.
Yep.
Yeah.
Finishing that is like, wow, like I did that. Like,
Yeah.
that's
And that's
crazy.
the halfway point.
Yeah,
That was only
Yeah,
halfway
yeah.
through.
Oh, you're halfway done.
yeah. Everything feels really easy after that. But I think the daunting part, we go downhill. My knee was a little tight going downhill, trying to carry the bag. You step over the black pipe that a couple people slipped on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then-
sewer pipe.
You're supposed to jump over it.
Well, you got to get
Yeah,
over
you
it,
gotta
but it's
get over it,
slippery.
your
Like I stepped
choice.
on it, but knowing it might be slippery.
Yeah.
A couple people I think underestimated it.
The
and
guy in
just-
front of me was like, "It's slippery." I didn't think it was gonna be slippery. It's like it's there's water running.
it's
through
yeah,
it.
it's
like
black plastic.
black plastic. What
Plastic.
Probably half melted at this point.
I was saying it's
so
hot. Yeah.
Actually, one guy in front of me fell and landed on it, and all I heard was, "Ow, it's hot!" Like not that he just fell with a sandbag on his back.
Oh,
it was,
yeah.
"Oh, the pipe's hot." Like,
Yeah, it's a black pipe in 90 degrees. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the guy that fell on the rope too.
oh, was same? Oh,
Way.
There was
At
a guy-
least-
no, there's a guy that fell on the rope.
oh,
before
oh,
that
yeah.
fall.
That same thing.
He hit the mat.
Guy fell off the rope and landed on the mat.
the crash
and
pad.
yelled, "It's
Oh,
hot!"
it's hot.
Yeah, because the crash pads are black.
They didn't think that through.
But that was his concern when he landed after falling off the rope. Was, "Oh, that's hot."
Yeah.
Oh, gee. Yeah, not falling off the rope
Yeah.
onto the back. Yeah.
He got up real quick.
Yeah, I'm
He's
sure.
like,
But yeah, the sandbag carry. I think the worst part, like you mentioned, you go down, you come around, and I've got the bag on my back. I'm just looking down, one foot in front of the other, like we're just gonna get through this.
Yeah.
And I start going up the hill, and I'm like, okay, we're doing good. I'm just get through this. Just keep going, one foot in front of the other. It's like, we're doing good. And I look up. That was the most demoralizing thing because I was like,
He passed by
I
me.
was just like-
I got to the bottom first. He keeps going because I stopped at the bottom
But
because I've done this before.
we've done
and
this
I know
before.
what's ahead.
So
I'm
we know
I'm gonna
what the
wait. I'm
turn
gonna
is.
breathe.
and I didn't know how much was
keeps
left.
going.
Because what it does is it goes down, but then it turns.
Way
So
not to give
before-
many hints, guys.
Before you turn back
Yeah,
up,
you're like, we want to see his face.
He kept walking, and as he walks by me, I was
it
like,
makes a big.
enjoy.
It makes that
He was
like
like,
U. So you go down, and then there's this little level part where you're walking sideways
and through the woods, so you
then-
can't see the trail.
And then you turn to go up, and then when you turn to go up, it's like, oh.
But that was my problem.
He
I
just
was looking down.
hears Metallica when the bell tolls, and it's like, it's over. This is it.
Yeah, I was looking down, so I was just watching my feet, keep going. I was like, okay, we'll get through this. I mean, it's not fun, it's terrible, but we can do this. And then when I looked up, I was like, oh, I didn't go anywhere near as far as I thought I did. I was like, there's like 95% of that uphill left. And I was like, that was the worst thing. They say when you're on heights, don't look down. Well, you're on that trail, don't look up. So you just keep walking.
It's the only thing that I dread about that race more than anything is that sandbag carry, the up on that sandbag carry. I'm like,
double black diamond, and you're going up it.
Two
and
things. There's those two things.
Well, to
I
be fair
worry
for
about
Dave,
that
it's
race.
almost half his weight. So, like, that's a
I refuse to carry because they have the girls' weight, which is like 40 pounds.
Yes.
I just can't. I can't do it because they specifically like, oh, this is the ladies' weight. And I'm like,
And it's a
even
different
though-
color.
And even though most
Bright pink.
and even though most
Red.
there are some beastly ladies in that race that can easily carry the men's bag,
I think some of them I
We
do.
watched
which is
them
no
grab the
problem.
men's bags.
But like it's just I don't want to be that guy. So I'm carrying the 60 pounds, which is I'm like 140 pounds. So
Yeah, soaking wet.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
Exactly.
It's definitely not half my weight.
Yeah.
But
We'll leave
yeah,
that one for Dave.
it was a daunting experience, but
you
you get done and you're like, I
Awesome.
did that. Like,
Yeah.
I did like. It's terrible. It's like,
Oh, during the race, you're like, I hate this. And then after you're done, you're like, yes.
Yeah, it's one of those moments like, why do I hate myself until you're done?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
one of those things that it proves like you can do more than you think you can do.
yeah, you never know what you can do until you push yourself.
So let's carry that right in. So Joe, you do two martial arts. One of them is ours,
so
not if you
when I
count
was younger.
ours.
When I was younger,
You
I did
do
one
count ours.
style.
What'd you do?
If you count our style too.
So
Yeah.
when I
We'll
was
ask Steve
younger,
later
I
if we can
practiced in
verify.
isshinryu.
Okay, so
like
I
Andrew.
did
Yes,
Goju.
like
I did Goju-ryu.
Okay.
So, but
Wait,
same,
wait.
very same.
Yeah.
concepts.
Around here.
Yeah, in Tom's River.
Oh, okay.
And if I remember correctly, Andrew lives next to the son of one of my old instructors. Just drew a blank on the name now. But yeah, so I was in Tom's River and did that for many years.
Nice.
Back then it was so you had first, second, and third degree brown and then black.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the dojo moved around a couple times and I was second degree brown and I never got to the black.
Right.
Never got
Now,
black
what was
belt.
your age there?
I don't remember.
Like 5, 10?
Nah, 10, 11, probably around there, 12 maybe.
Yeah.
Is when you stopped or when you started?
When I stopped.
Okay.
So I started young. Actually, my brother and I both did it. Did it for many years and loved it. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's second degree brown, and I never made it to black belt. And that's the one thing now training at PPK, like that's the one goal. Like, I never got there, but I
I'm
still
getting there
can.
now.
Yeah.
No, you still can.
Yep.
The
And
oldest-
doing it right along with my kids too, which is
we had
awesome.
a
Love
guy
that.
doing it at
Love that.
73.
Yep.
Bob was 73 when he did it.
I hope it doesn't take me that long.
No. Well, I'm just saying.
But Bob,
He's
yeah.
already a blue belt.
Yeah,
so-
you'll be
Yeah,
70.
but you're in good shape.
Listen,
Now I am.
by 72, you'll definitely make it. Not 73.
You'll beat him by one.
Shooting
No,
for 71.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
So
Junior.
So you always
Junior
kind
slack.
of maintained an interest in the martial arts. And
Yeah, I mean, I always had the interest, and after that I played soccer probably half my life. I was 12 years at the time I was playing soccer, so always very active. But then soccer kind of died off when I was in high school. I was working for my buddy's restaurant, so
We followed
time-wise-
almost the exact identical path. I did Goju-ryu, soccer, because my family, I'm first generation from Italy here.
Oh,
so,
nice, okay.
They only know soccer. They're like, basketball,
Yeah.
soccer, got
Right.
it. Yep.
And your parents owned
So-
a restaurant.
And my parents owned a restaurant.
Italian
It's
restaurants.
Italian
Yeah, I worked at an
restaurant,
Italian
Southern
restaurant.
Italian
It was my
restaurant.
buddy's Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
They were Napolitan.
Napolitan, yep. We're from an island off the coast of Naples. So whenever someone asks, we say Napolitan. We're from
Okay.
Ischia, right next.
And that's like my favorite Italian food now because I grew up on that, and
So good.
it's like that style of Italian food is my favorite, and that's
Oh, yeah.
So you guys followed a very similar
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
trajectory
It's
there.
wild. I
But you
love
got
it.
because
It's
Nick
good
got
news.
back into martial arts with PPK. So you were a third degree in Goju-ryu.
Fourth degree.
Fourth degree.
Fourth degree, yep.
Fourth degree in Goju, and then you stopped for a long time.
But let's be honest, right? Fourth degree junior level, right? Am I going to go fight adults at a fourth degree? No. But I was a fourth
and then
degree.
you stopped for a while.
I stopped at 14.
Okay.
I trained with a buddy of mine, and then he stopped at 13. I stopped at 14, and then I was playing soccer. I got into weightlifting at the time. I trained. Then I went to college and trained on the side. So I ended up starting a martial arts club at Monmouth University with a couple guys, and we trained for about a year there. And then I went to another college and trained with a few guys there. But I never traditionally trained. Like I just got some guys together and we would spar or whatever.
Until adulthood.
Until adulthood. And then I met Master Paul through work, and we had some fun chatting and kind of, shooting the breeze. And I'm like, yeah, I think I might throw on some gloves at you guys. What do you think? And he goes, I'll see you on Thursday. And
So wait, you
know,
met Master Paul in person and then decided to throw on gloves with him?
Listen, I'm okay with size until I was there. Then I'm like, okay, you're faster than I thought for a big guy.
Yeah.
Nick was a banker. I mean, that's.
I'm in financing. I'm in
Yeah,
financing.
you're way higher than that now. But
I'm in financing. I do.
that's
I do
how
well.
we met Master Paul, and then there you go.
Yeah, he was one of my clients, and I feel like I feel like I'm my clients. I'm their client. Like I work for them, right? So we had a really good relationship. You know, you've met Master Paul. He's an easy dude to talk to.
Great
Super
people.
fun. Had a great time. So I trained for 6 months, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm not going anywhere." He's like, "Great," and that was it. And then I just started, and I wanted to start from scratch there too because I'd never done his style.
It's a very different style
is.
from Isshinryu.
Oh yeah, Isshinryu, like it's more focus on really heavy focus on the kata. I mean, they know I'm a stickler for like kata forms.
Yep.
It's all stand up fight. It isn't anymore. Now they've changed it, but it used to be all stand up fighting.
all
like
point sparring.
heavy point sparring. I used to compete in point
That
sparring.
was when Andrew came over from Isshinryu.
We did a lot of.
The first thing I
Yeah.
remember, because I was like a purple belt when he came over, and the first time I came to a sparring class, he hit somebody. And then kind of stopped, and they punched him, and he's like, "What?" And it's like, "Dude, it's not point sparring. We're free
Yeah,
sparring."
he loves telling that story because
We're
he was
free sparring.
Isshinryu also, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that was
It was
the
a
rude
good learning
awakening."
moment.
Like, oh,
They can keep hitting me.
you don't stop after the point. Yeah,
No, this is, we're still going right now.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that, right? Because I like training in kickboxing and boxing styles when I was in between, and when I saw they did continue point spot, you just keep going.
Yeah.
So-
I'm like, sweet, let's do it.
Did your kids start first,
yes.
and then how'd you get roped in?
So my son started, and honestly, it's the
Now,
best
how did
thing
he
for-
start? Like, were you at an event? Was it at a school thing? Did you just
No,
look it up?
we were trying to find something for him to do. I have an older son that's 21.
Okay,
I coached his soccer for 8 or 9 years.
cool. That's great.
And then I tried my younger son, Alex, with soccer as well. At an early age, like, 4 or 5, starting. Very crowded, too many people. He did not like that at all. So
Got
I
it.
was like, okay, I mean, try that thing. And I call Alex my little engineer because he's like me. Brilliant little kid and great. And we just needed something for him to do, something
That suited him.
active that wasn't overly crowded and to help him along.
Nice.
He was a very shy kid like me. I was very shy when I was younger. Not so much anymore. Quite the opposite now.
He's very shy.
Yeah, very shy.
Never got that vibe off.
He hides behind the beard. I could tell. No.
So my oldest son did another karate school in town. Didn't go well. Didn't last long there at all. And then someone mentioned PPK. So I was like, all right, we'll go check it out. And then brought him in, talked to Andrew, and I just hit it off immediately. I mean, as soon as you talk to Master Andrew, like you're sold. Like this is a good place to be. Saw all the kids and tried them out. Like, let's see if that's something that I love. And he loved it, and it was the greatest thing for him. So fast forward a couple years, been doing it. My daughter, who actually just turned 8 yesterday,
Oh, happy birthday.
she was watching Alex do it and, kind of loving it. And she's very, very active. And then I had a friend that I grew up with, Butch,
Yes.
who does the men's class.
Yep, Butch.
I grew up with Butch's kids. Now Butch's grandkids are in karate.
Oh, that's cool.
So now
Butch is good people. I don't know if you met Butch. He's good.
I think I might have met him.
Yeah, I think you have.
So started seeing Butch's daughter Shelby there all the time, and like I grew up with them. Butch and his wife are really good friends with my parents still. They live down the street from each other, so Butch kept harping on the adult class. Like, hey, when are you going to join the adult class? When are you going to join the adult class? So Butch had been taking it for
Yeah, he's like, I want to hit you.
And that's exactly what I said.
Amongst
Like,
friends.
you just want to, just hit me from all the years as a teenager,
Yeah,
because we always played out in front of his house, and friends of mine lived across the street. So we were always down in that neighborhood,
get his
causing
payback.
trouble. And I was like, Butch, you just want payback, because we were all teenagers. He's like, no, it's not like that.
Now put the gloves on.
So when we signed my daughter up, Butch kept saying, hey, come on, join the adult class. And then now with the 2 kids paying, I was like, okay, so Andrew's like, come on in. You just come take the class.
Just come take the
You
class.
try it out. Have
And I
fun.
was like, I was never a fighter. I had friends that used to like box and,
Yeah.
isshinryu, it was point sparring, so it was nice.
Yeah.
I had no interest in fighting.
Right.
Or getting hit. Like, that's mainly the thing. I had no desire to get hit at all.
No,
Yeah, honestly,
me
when
either.
someo's like, I love getting hit, I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yes.
What?
Yeah.
So I was hesitant to join because, it's listed as an MMA class. Butch is in there, and Butch is a brick of a man. Like,
Yes, he is.
he's retired Boilermaker, and he does welding now. So if that man grabs a hold of you, he's not letting go.
Yeah, exactly.
And you better be hitting him with something really hard. So I was hesitant, and then I was like, all right, fine, I'll try a class. I'll see what it's like. I instantly fell in love with it because it's everyone that's all got kids there. That's the majority of the people taking the MMA class. We're all over.
And
We're
I
all gonna
think
go to work
the
next
big
day.
point was we're there. Yeah, we all have to work the next day. You're
Yeah.
there to have a
So-
good time, learn some stuff, work out with some guys, but you're not there. You're not going to compete in the UFC tomorrow.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
that's
and
not what we're doing.
we call it MMA, but because it is a mixed system, but it's just what we do minus the kata.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's karate.
So-
I hate to use the word karate. Like, it's not easier than
We're
karate,
not
but it's
training
you're taking
fighters.
out.
Yeah.
We're not training. It's still
martial
very
arts.
self-defense oriented. Very
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to learn how to fight, but you're not there to fight
Yeah.
all day long. Yeah. If you need a fighting, group, if you need to go in and get a training team, this isn't the
Yeah,
place
we're,
for
we're,
it.
yeah,
This
we're
is
not
it.
prepping you for your
Cage
match on
fighting.
Saturday.
And that's the same thing. I got my brother involved. My brother's a little older than me. He's a mechanic. I was like, hey, come try the class. When we were younger, he was the fighter. He hung out with a lot of the guys that all got into fights. And I was this skinny little 160-pound kid, just kind of stayed away. I just had no desire to do that. And they all got into fights and stuff. So I said, hey, come join. He's older now. He's a mechanic, so he's not been great on his knees and his back. And he had a couple buddies that are cops that joined a different MMA and got hurt.
Yeah, he's nervous now.
Like kind of hazing the white belt kind of situation.
That happens sometimes.
And I had to tell him, I was like, that's not, like, that is quite the opposite of what we do. And he came in and fell in love with it too.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, he had some medical issues, so he's not back yet. He had to step away. He had surgery, so he's hoping to come back soon. But he fell in love with it too. He's like, he was hesitant again, like me. Like, I don't want to get hurt. Like, I'm not looking to do that.
Yeah, you have a family, you have kids, you have a job.
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
I mean, I find like that's the hardest thing when you're trying to get adult students, because we also have an adult class in the prep school.
Yep.
Nick knows, he teaches there too. It's trying to remind adults, like, we all know you got jobs, we all know you got lives and kids, and so you're gonna train hard, but no injuries. You got a job.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
train hard. You got a
Yeah,
family.
we're not.
Yeah.
Listen, are we going to promise you're never going to take a shot? No. But are we going to say someone's, gives you a solid shot and we're going to say, keep going, pour? No.
Yeah.
Good shot, man. Nice. Back it up. Circle
And
around.
I would
Let's
say
keep going.
most of the shots you take is because you leaned into it or stepped into it.
Yeah, exactly.
And my brother was really good at that. He's really good at leaning into something that's about to hit him.
Well, you know what, though? If he's a legacy fighter, like,
Like,
he's going
he's got
forward.
a hard head.
Yeah,
Like,
he's going
if
forward.
he's going head first, he's lucky.
Now,
He's safe.
Did you know Jay before, who ran the race with us? Did you know him before?
No,
PPK?
just his not. I've never met him before PPK. So his daughter and my son Alex were in the same class and kind of moving up together.
Right.
So we just seeing each other, and he's got the 3 kids, so he's there 6 days a week. And then once I signed Emma up, I was there 6 days a
They
week.
just
So
got
we
became
just
friends.
So
became
we're
close
not
friends.
we're not jumping back into the race conversation, but I do want to say, so you're at the school, you're training at TR. These guys are a brick. How do you get into the Spartan racing?
Well,
with them?
no. Steve's a TR.
So yeah, no, okay. So that's
That's
you.
Steve's still over here.
That's
Were
the
you
connection.
recruiting Steve for like the races? Is that what you're doing?
So-
Were you like, hey man, I do Spartan race, like in conversation? How'd you get into
They
it?
saw me wearing like the T-shirt one time. I talked about it before, and they
Sit
were
back
asking
down.
about it.
Get in the frame.
I had to also have to check.
Listen,
check
you
the
you
scores.
grab our younger audience. You guys stay in.
No, we're still recording. I see it.
Okay,
I see
good.
the red
Just
thing
making
in the
sure.
TV.
I'm paranoid. But so yeah, they saw me would wear the shirts, and I would be talking about it because any of the Saturday races I would have to ask off for, so I'd have to say, hey, oh, sorry, I'm not going to be there on Saturday, guys. I have a race we're running, and they got interested in it. And at this point, I think you guys had started also taking the cardio kickboxing class on Mondays and Wednesdays too, right?
Yes. So
I'm pretty sure you guys.
I think it was about 6 months of doing the MMA class before I was finally not feeling like I was about to die on the way home. Can't reach the seatbelt.
after you're done. Yeah.
And then Jay's a couple years younger. He got the bright idea. He's like, oh, why don't we take the kickboxing class also? Because I'm not getting any smarter in my old age. I thought, yeah, sure, why not? And that was a bad idea for the first couple months. And
4 days a week of hard training.
So and that cardio kickboxing class is way more cardio.
Yeah,
Way more cardio than the MMA class. I tease every once in a while, say like the cardio kickboxing is harder. It's just cardio wise, it is way more difficult.
It's your conditioning.
Yeah, yes.
It's your conditioning class.
And
if you're training, like if a fighter is trained, they have their strength and conditioning days, and then they have their technical days.
Yep.
Yeah, so I yelled at Jay every kickboxing class for quite a while because it was his idea. And yet here I am just following along. I'm like, I'm going to, I'm volunteering to go. It's not like I'm being held captive. But I yelled at him for quite a bit because it was his idea. And it was probably a year of doing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would have been
You guys
last
have been
year.
into it a little bit. So, and that was what, when I were talking about it and they were showing interest in it, I thought, I was like, these guys have been training in the class for pretty hard for a while, and they're doing the cardio kickboxing class too. I was like, that they could probably handle a sprint.
He texted me. He's like, I got some guys to run the
Vernon
race
sprint
with us. So, because I started doing these, and then I dragged Steve into these, and then I dragged Steve and Alex into them. Alex first.
And is it gentleman Tom? What's the other guy's name again?
Jay.
Jay. No, sorry,
yeah.
Jay.
So-
They're the best
So Jay,
teams.
great.
So he
so
texted
is
The light fell.
is
So he
Jay
texted me-
also a member of ZZ Top?
No.
Or-
No.
Oh, he's not a bearder?
No.
He's got
a beard.
He's got a small beard, yeah.
Oh,
But-
dude, no, wait, his beard comes down off his chin a little.
Yeah.
So he had
Joe's like he doesn't compete.
so Steve texted me, and I was like, I only loosely saw you guys around the school. I didn't really like if I came
Yeah,
to graduation
yeah.
or because mostly you guys are in Tom's River.
Yep.
So we didn't really meet till the Spartan races.
Okay,
And
cool.
then we would get, we'd race and then we'd get food afterwards.
Yeah.
Almost every time. So
Oh, what's the food of choice after the Spartan race?
depends on where we're
Yeah.
Whatever's open and available
Something
to
protein.
depends on where we're
something
at.
protein.
Anything I want after a Spartan race.
Yeah, anything.
It's crap.
And all of it.
Yeah,
All of it.
Every day.
I want all those calories back.
Yes.
I missed them already.
Now we've done multiple races together, at least
So I've done 4 now.
4. So we've done 3 together because City Field we ended up parting.
Yeah,
a little
same
bit.
day, but we didn't make it at the same time.
Yeah. That was
Because
unfortunate.
of certain people.
But it was definitely
Not-
Jay's
not anybody
idea.
Sitting here.
No.
With Steve talking about it, Jay was like, "Oh, why don't we do a race?" It's like, because we're old. I was like, I had lots of reasons why we shouldn't.
Well,
and
Master Andrew also chimed in because this was after Master Andrew had done his race with us with
Yeah.
Mike and Emma and whatnot and Len, and then he chimed in and was like, "Oh, it's a lot of fun, guys." And that also got. It was like, okay, Master Andrew's saying
Yeah.
that's a good idea. So
And it was, I mean,
confidence.
it's a good. It's good. We only race with good people, and it is a good bonding experience.
yeah.
So like everybody gets along on the course. It's a good bonding experience. It's a good So like it went from I think that was the first time we really met my wife.
Yeah.
Because she all the races last year she was pregnant, so she.
Well, she's a
really
pro.
didn't do the Spartan races.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So
It makes you feel out of shape when you're like, I can't keep up.
Yeah, she's
But,
crushing.
I might look pregnant, but I'm not. So I still can't keep up.
But it's funny because over the course of the 5 hours that we ran this race, everybody kind of gets to know each other.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
bond a little
Yeah.
bit. So that's why, she's like, "Oh, Joe's funny." She's like, "Nick and Joe are gonna get along." Like she thought you were hilarious. She's like, "I like Joe. He's good people." I said, "Yeah, I like Joe too."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know all those
Keep 'em around.
internal thoughts when you're working out. Like they're not internal for me.
Nope, they're all
they're
external.
all external.
Mine
thoughts.
always stay
But you
internal.
know what? We have a good crew.
Yeah, yes,
So
it's
it's
great people to run with.
Nobody's really like, "Hey, pick it up," or like,
yeah.
we're just having fun.
And
love
that's
it.
We're just having fun.
after that first race. That's what I think was the biggest thing that I need to do this again because we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just
I mean,
had
it was,
fun.
It was terrible doing the first one because I didn't know.
He made me sick the first race.
No, that was the second race.
Oh, was that the second?
Yeah, that was the second one. Oh,
Because he went over this thing and his calf seized up in a way I've never seen a calf seize up in my life.
well, it started freaking out and doing its own thing. Like I looked down and my calf just doing waves.
Undecided.
Yeah, it's on its own. I've never seen a calf muscle turn into like a wave machine.
I'm looking at it, and I'm like, he's like, oh my God, are you looking at this? I'm like, and it became like a donut at one point.
When it stopped moving, it turned into like the shape of a donut with the indent in the center.
Indent in the center.
It looked like someone just stuck a donut under my skin and left it there.
It
and
was gross.
Hell.
he was like, "Oh, I gotta go."
What is wrong today?
I'm leaving you here.
I'm just looking at my calf like, "What are you doing?"
I don't
So
do
the first
super
thing-
well with things like that, but
Yeah.
he's got a donut in his calf, and I'm like, this
The
is
first
not
one
normal.
did it, and then was the
Oh, it was
same race.
after the next obstacle. The other one did
The
it.
other one did it too.
Yeah, it was.
And I will
You know
say,
what it was?
it felt as bad as it looked.
I think your calf muscles were just simply resetting. They're
or
like,
something.
yeah, reboot.
Hard reset.
We have
Hard
not
reset.
done this before.
It was like the blue screen of death right there. I was like, "Yep."
It's doing the circle. Like, oh my God, it's not good.
Yeah, it started doing like waves at first, and like I didn't know your calf could do those shapes.
None of us did.
And then the donut shape was that was like the finale.
That was just to mess with you.
I was getting ill looking at it. I was like, dude, I'm gonna get sick. I can't look at this.
I was like, well, it feels as uncomfortable as it looks. So
Just so you know, Dave,
Pulsing.
this isn't any better than it looks.
yeah, that was the 10K at Mountain Creek.
Yeah, yeah, that was disgusting.
And that never happened again.
That was
No.
pre-avocados.
Yeah.
It was
I think the avocado saved me this time.
And bananas. I
Yes.
like it.
also one of my son's favorite foods.
So,
Avocado?
oh, yes.
Oh, they're so great.
So now you made this crazy sign that fell over again.
Yes.
Is
yes,
this
that's
like a
hard-
habit of
hard
yours?
segue to
It was a
Joe's-
hard. I did. I shifted into it because we went back into races
good.
again, which was awesome too.
Any of the students that see our big PPK lamp that sits on the front that.
Yep.
So in brick, it sits. You haven't been.
Yeah,
to
no, I did. When I went to the one,
you come to
the leadership seminar. Yeah.
So I have it set right on the top now.
Yeah.
Right at the front desk, right there. It's like the first thing you see when you walk in.
So that, with my son Alex,
You made this thing, and
The Kickin and Crocs.
Yeah.
Printed sign. Yeah.
yep, that's all Joe.
so my son Alex, like I said, he's my little engineer. I have a degree in computer engineering.
Nice.
So he follows along with that. I mean, brilliant at math. Like, he's not really into like a lot of like toys or activities. Like, and so at 11 years old, you have kids. Impossible to buy things for. So probably around 9 years old, I was like, I'm running out of things that he's interested in that
Right.
like I can get him for his birthday and stuff. So 3D printing is something I've always kind of been interested in. We do a lot of it where I work, but I'm not involved in that part. So I was thinking, all right, for his birthday, a 3D printer. I think he would love it. He likes to make things, and he likes to design some stuff somewhat, but he likes that engineering aspect. So we got a cheap starter 3D printer a couple years ago, and it was great. He loved it. He got into it. Him and I both together. We got into trying it out, learning.
Well, that's good too, because it's like a bonding thing.
Yeah. So it's it's the thing we could do together. And fast forward 2 years. Again, that was a starter printer. It was finicky. You had to mess with it a lot. So it was worse than using like a regular printer when they're mad at you when you need something done quickly,
Well,
and it's just like no.
I
we're
have
not
an
gonna work.
Ender, and
Oh, okay. So I had an Ender 3 clone.
okay, I have the next one up, but he still
Yeah,
likes
so
to argue with me.
Yeah. So it's got
Like you have to visit it every hour and a half
Yeah.
because it might kick the thing off
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah. So it just randomly does things like
Yep.
for no
Like,
reason.
why?
So fast forward to last year, we upgraded to the bamboo printer,
Okay.
which, as much as I'm an Android person, it's kind of like the Apple of printers.
Just works.
It just works, and it's a phenomenal printer. So we, him and I together, we upgraded to that, and we're it does a lot more. It multicolor, so it does up. Right now, we have it set up. We can do
Ian.
4 colors.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
like
a lot less babysitting. Like you
Oh,
kinda
it's just
code
print
it
it out.
out, put it in, print, and
Like
walk away.
right from your phone. Like you can
Oh,
load up stuff right from your
nice.
phone, send it to it, and print it. And so Alex really got into that, and we're printing a lot of stuff. And you see on like a lot of social media, people are selling like the dragons and things.
Yeah.
And I was like, he got really interested in that. I was like, all right, that's something I can point him towards and like give him a goal to like attain. He's actually now created his own website for selling the items. We're not fully there yet where, we can take payments and stuff, but I've just given him that
Do
goal.
you know the name of the website by heart?
Plug it.
Call it out. Yeah, call it out.
Well, it's on Instagram. It's Cope 3D Prints.
Okay.
I don't know. It's on GitHub where his website is. So
We'll
it's
link it.
when you have time, throw us the link. Yeah.
so, and he designed the website himself. It's actually like the second iteration. He's coded it all himself.
Oh, man.
And kind of giving him that direction to go to has been the best thing because he loves programming. That's the one thing like that keeps him driven, and he's so good at it. He used to do. There was a Code Ninjas place in Toms River that he would go to, and a bunch of younger guys are all in college, and I got talking to them because that's what I do is programming.
Right.
And just talking to those guys and, getting back and forth because they were in college, letting them know what industry's like and what to look forward to. And they loved bringing me back to show what Alex was doing because
Right.
the way his brain worked and the way he coded things was way different than what you would expect when you're teaching someone. So they used to love bringing me back there and like, oh, you got to see what Alex did today because they knew I would understand it. And they knew I would, understand the differences on the way he's doing things. And actually one of the guys still tutors him every week now because, like I said, the programming is the one thing he loves and he's so driven at it and he's so good at it, like a natural.
Now, what is he using? Like, do you use a Mac? Do you use an IBM? Do you use an HP?
Just a Windows PC, but he started with...
What's he coding?
So he started with Scratch, which is a very visual language. You kind of dragging blocks around.
Yeah.
And he's actually built his own video game in that and done a couple tutorials where you build your own video game, following them along.
Oh, that's cool.
And then now he's learning Python.
Okay. One of the last
Python's a real business, right?
Yeah.
People
one
use
of the last
Python.
guests we had on, Terry Burns Dyson, who's also one of our adults in Brick. That's what he does for a living too. He's a programmer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And he does a live stream of programming.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
he sets up a whole stream as he's programming. He's got multiple monitors going, so you can see him coding. And
On Twitch and YouTube, I believe.
yeah, he codes on Twitch and YouTube.
Oh, no, nice. That's awesome.
Maybe your son will follow him and give him some,
Yeah,
give each
I'll
other
have to
tips.
follow him, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and him learning Python, which was kind of crazy because, like I said, when we was doing the
That's
Code
a-
Ninjas,
more complex.
they were following along with the curriculum that they had, and the one guy, shout out to Marco, he's a phenomenal guy. He teaches Alex every week, and he's like, we're gonna go outside the curriculum, and I got to get him doing something more. He's like,
Yeah.
he's just following along way too fast. He's just blowing through all the.
So he's got a pretty good idea of like he can follow that straight on through adulthood.
Yeah.
And work into programming, and so yeah, he's got a pretty
That's a dying industry.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
He's got a great future. That's all so cool.
If you
And you
miss
guys could
Nick's
relate on it.
sarcastic
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah. That is so
Well,
awesome.
You program for the government, right?
So I work for the Army.
Hint, hint, nod, nod.
Are you out of
stuff.
Fort Dix?
No, actually, Picatinny Arsenal,
Okay.
90 miles north.
All right. That's a fun
Well,
commute.
90 miles north from Toms River, not from here.
And your
Yeah,
wife
yeah.
used to do audits for the military.
Yep, out of Fort Monmouth. Yep,
Okay.
She used to be an auditor for them and ended in 2010 because that's when they
They bracked it, closed it. Yep.
Yep, that was super fun.
I don't think they could ever clean up Picatinny, so we don't really worry about it getting bracked.
Fair enough.
Picatinny started making cannonballs for George Washington.
Okay.
It's been around that long.
Wow.
Nice.
It used to
And
be.
they haven't cleaned since then, so God.
No.
That's a long time.
Yeah, so it's been around a very, very long time. They used to do a lot of ammunition manufacturing up there, a lot of work.
Now, were you in the Army or you
So
always did coding?
right from college, I went into programming. My father, who's a former Marine, he worked in the same area on the same programs.
Awesome.
Probably how I got the job, who you know, but so he got me the interview, and then just
Went from there.
everyone knew him, which was helpful. He'd been doing this for a long, long time in multiple different facets of that system. So it was something I was interested in, and we do really, really cool work up there. And as a computer geek, getting to drive tanks and blow things up, like that's just like, all right.
Who would wanna
that's
do
what you
that?
would like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I started right out of college, got the job there, and I just last month hit 20 years.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Crazy to think about.
Yeah, and I'm a computer
That's
geek.
awesome.
I started off as a comp sci major, and after a year of programming, I was like, man, I don't think I can program for the rest
I've
of
got to
my
kick
life.
things.
I was like, I don't know if I can do this the rest of my life.
Which is funny because getting my computer engineering degree, I did not have an interest in programming, but it always kind of came easy to me. I won't say I was really, really good at it, but it was an easier thing to understand the logic behind it and how to do it. So being a lazy college student, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go do the things that are easy to me.
Right.
So I got the computer engineering degree with no interest in programming, but when I got offered the job up there, and that's what they do, and I'm like, all right, you can work on tanks, you can work on
Like what you're programming is way more interesting.
I was like, all right, so that seems really, really cool. And you know, the first time you look at a program with 1 million lines of code, it's really, really daunting, but it's you pick it up pretty quick, and then you go from there.
Exactly.
No, you don't.
Exactly.
I remember doing the cash register app where you had to make a cash register. Oh my God, this is
Yeah, we're not going to give any change. The drawer doesn't open. The drawer doesn't open. Just keep the product.
I got Hello World was good. I was good with Hello World.
You got to start somewhere.
That's it.
But so
I did a year of C, and I was like,
yeah, it's mostly C++. I mean, now after 20 years, I manage programmers and manage the projects and stuff, so I don't really do any actual programming anymore.
I can build a gaming PC, and I can.
So I can
Turn a computer on.
yeah, I can help Alex with his programming, but even like Python, I started with C++ 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I never learned Python. It's close enough, but the difference is I still got to stare at it for a second while he's blowing through the code and rearranging.
Like you can
things.
cheat through it a little bit,
Yeah.
but not.
Yeah,
full
so
blown.
it's close enough to C++ where like I understand what's going on, I understand what he's doing, but even some of the things I try to help him with, and he's like, "No, that's not the way to do it." I'm like,
Well, that was.
I was like, "That's the way we used to do it."
You're like, I was
Actually,
testing
that's
you.
That's so when I was in college, so high school I took programming. It was C++.
Yep.
Then went to college. I switched to Java.
yeah,
So I had to learn Java, not JavaScript, Java.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh man. And then after a year of Java, I was like, okay. You either know you want to like program, 'cause,
Yeah.
like you would get the assignments right, and there would be guys that would be up programming, and then it'd be me like I do it for like an hour, and be like, I need to walk away from this.
And we
like I don't want to do this
I
anymore.
gotta go talk to a human being. Right
And we
now.
have a couple guys, obviously yourself, Terry. We've got Smith, right? Both Smiths, right?
Both
that-
Smiths.
that
So
program.
Dan Smith, Senpai Smith, he's got a degree in
Game design.
game design, video game design. So
Oh, that's
programs
cool.
for game design. So he's on the job hunt right now. And his brother, Brad,
Yeah, he came right out the block with his
came,
job.
well, he went to Stevens and he cybersecurity. So he came
That's-
right out the gate with a job.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
did
yeah.
5 years master's and like got hired by the government like
Yep.
ASAP.
Yesterday, yeah.
Master Paul was like his Master Paul had,
His
like,
referrals,
so
right,
they
yeah.
do the background checks and they
Yeah.
call your. So normally it's like, yes, I know him and that's it. No, it was like Master Paul's like it was like a 30-minute conversation because they like
Yeah.
it's not like your normal.
Oh no! They check everything, and you got to list everything out. You got to do the whole security form and everything.
But yeah, he came right out the gate with that, and he does cybersecurity for him,
Yeah, that's
and he
awesome.
does well. That's a whole thing in itself.
Yeah, that's a
He
whole
tells us
other
They
animal.
would go to hacker competitions.
Yep.
When they were in college, I'm like, that's amazing. That's
Well,
like-
I know in the finance or in the banking world, they host hackathons all the time to see if there are programmers that can come in and work on the back end security for the finance system.
A lot of them
And you get
offer
them through
very
that.
big incentives, like awards. Like if you can find vulnerabilities, they're going to offer huge rewards because that saves them a lot of
Well,
money.
that's Alex's
So
next
what they
step.
do, what they do is they give you basically like 24 hours to build an app for a specific like suite of companies, and the whole time they're just watching like they don't even care if you get the app or not. They're just watching like what are you navigating through, what are your
Yeah,
bills,
actually-
what
What's
are
your process?
Yeah.
One of the guys I worked with, he was a contractor. He went over to work for Google, and he said that interview process was intense. It was like 7 interviews before you get in the door.
Yeah.
And then he had 5 in-person interviews in like the one day. And I remember him talking about the one thing they ask you go up to the whiteboard. He's like, all right, you've got 20 minutes, solve this problem. And while you're writing out the code, like, all right, well, while you're doing that, if you had more time, how would you do it differently? If you had less time, what would you do different? While you're trying to
Still figure it out.
write out the problem, and then tell them how you're going to do it different based on different
God.
Yeah,
criteria.
first thing
while
I
you're
do is
writing out
lock my door and not answer when you guys come in.
Yeah.
Number one.
Talk to you as one. But second,
Exactly. I lead in by not letting you in.
Yeah, we're engineers. Don't distract us.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
why all the engineers wear headphones. Like, no distractions.
Oh, that's cool.
My sister's the engineer in our family. My dad and my sister are like the engineer brain people.
And you could tell you talk to them. It's
Well,
it'd be
my
like 3
sister-
seconds to be like, I get it.
My
Yeah,
sister's
yeah.
degree was aerospace engineer in
Okay,
physics.
yeah, that's-
and that's so she
Well,
worked at NASA.
lot of
briefly,
physics there.
and-
smart people.
and then she worked for working on airplanes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now somehow she works for boats, Yamaha. That's her first job not involving
Space.
airplanes and things like that. So she's just engineering for boats now, which is weird.
Listen, maybe the water's more her thing.
I guess the air, like
I
engineering for
suppose
the
if you
air
understand
complements to the
engineering-
water. I guess.
Well, when you
I don't know.
understand the fluid dynamics, whether it's air resistance or water resistance, very similar.
I would assume so.
You're using very similar math for the fluid dynamic
I
stuff.
would
So
assume so. It's
Ready,
beyond
ready,
me.
ready?
that's about all I know in that
No, no.
category.
Ready? Yes.
Whatever you just said. Yes.
Yeah. No.
Outside of that, I
makes
don't know if it's the same, but it sounds like
Yeah.
it sounds smart when I need to.
It did that. You know what? Fake it till you make it. That's good. Yeah, that seemed pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Now, so that explains how you got into the 3D printing. So now so what is like his go-to thing to work on when he's, because you mentioned like dragons or whatever. Like, does he have like a specific
Is it
genre
always,
he likes
is it
to
always
make?
lamps and things like this?
No, so it's just kind of all different things. The nice thing with the bamboo printers, and actually there's a whole slew of people that do amazing design work out there.
Yeah.
And free files. Some have commercial availability, some are non-commercial. So, you kind of pick and choose, and you can modify designs. So I had come across just looking for Christmas presents. I got the new printer. I want to use it. Like, I just can start printing everything. And I found a guy that designed the lamp that I had printed for Master Andrew at first for PPK and
that's
Tom's
maybe
River.
one of those.
And
Whatever it costs, get me one.
Exactly.
so with that lamp design, there's a thing, they're called lithophanes. And that's the front part of that plate. And then on the lamp, where the light shines through, those are lithophanes. And I was like, oh, that seems like a cool idea. It's almost like a 2D look on a 3D print.
But is it still the printer that's building the lithophane
Yes.
design?
So there's
Okay.
there's a website you can go to actually build them for different specs, sizes, and stuff. Whether it used to just be black and white. So the more layers of white filament you have, the darker it's going to be because less light's getting through.
Yep.
So it's that kind of concept. And now with the multicolor printers,
You
it's
can keep it thin.
yeah. So but you also get the different colors, and they stack the colors to make it. The program does it itself. You use cyan, magenta, yellow, and white.
Right. to
And
make
based on
different
those
colors.
4 colors, you layer them differently, and it comes with all the different colors you can make.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you can do the shading. So once you put all 3 colors and you stack them up, then it's going to look darker. And it's a really cool process to watch because it's really thin. So it's just a couple layers of each color, and then you put a light behind it. And so I was like, all right. So I got into doing that, and I thought that'd make a great gift. I made one for my wife with some Disney panels in it.
Oh, that's neat.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. It's a nice little lamp. And I was like, oh, you know what? For PPK, I can do the logo, which that was the hardest part, trying to get a high-res version of the logo.
Because there's not a high res
Yes,
version of the
there
logo,
isn't, yeah.
which has been a problem with me. Every time Master Paul wants something done, because I'm the resident tech
Yeah, for
guy.
a
at
Okay.
T-shirt
school.
or something, you're trying to
So
blow it
he's
up.
like, it was like, oh, submit something. It's like, oh, they need a high res photo. I'm like, oh my god. Do you have any of the original stuff from when we got the logo? The logo, he just had somebody sketch out
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
on a piece of paper in 1989.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if Caravella could redesign it for us, like keep it the same but give us a fresh.
multiple-
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the daunting task. I was like, all right, I need a high-res color image. And
You can get it. It just takes some effort.
yeah, and actually, I think at one point I took the logo and just traced it in paint.net and recolored it. I was like, all right, we're just going to hand do some of this because otherwise it's not going to come out right. And
It
no, I
came
got
out
it.
It,
I was-
it came out outstanding.
yeah, it's really cool design the way that it does that. And, I was very happy finding that little lamp design. I was like, oh, that's really awesome. Makes a great gift.
It
Oh,
came
it's
out
awesome.
So, yeah, we all kinds of different things that Alex prints. All
we have
the-
a buddy, Ian. He's like my brother-in-law. Trained at the school. He does 3D printing like crazy. He actually started 3D printing.
Yeah, he has a
business
company
now.
too.
Yeah.
So he's got like 5 3D printers that run at all times in his basement. He makes
Yeah.
chips for games and like Magic the Gathering type
Yeah, okay.
things like that. But he 3D printed his glasses.
Yep.
The frames for his glasses. He's 3D printed a bunch of different things. I'm like, oh man.
I think the best use for it when we first got the Ender clone, it was a Volks Lab, doing school projects.
oh yeah.
When
that's
when
gotta be
Alex
cool.
would have a school project, like, oh, you have to make something or like a diorama, you can make it out of clay or make it out of. I'm like, I'm as artistic as a brick. Like I have no art skills whatsoever.
I always hate that because I'm the same way.
And then my Alex, he's great at drawing. Like he's phenomenal at it, but doesn't always like to do it. So it's like, you know what? We'll just print stuff. So every diorama he did from like 4th or 5th grade, we're just printing things and sticking them in the box. I'm like, made it so much easier. Like just for that alone,
cool.
I'm like, we're just printing everything now.
Oh yeah.
And it still looks cool. I love it.
I always hate those assignments because I can't.
Well, that's what
not artistic
Alex
at all.
does. Alex prints up the characters for
Master Alex,
Master
So
Alex.
Master Alex, he has a resin printer.
Oh yeah, that's
So he does a lot of like his
what's the name
miniatures.
But what's the
He
game
does-
he plays?
he plays
all the time?
Warhammer.
plays
Warhammer. Okay,
So
yeah.
he'll make the full legions, and then he paints them amazingly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
My Alex, he loves to paint in them too. So we got him a whole paint set, which again, like I can't do.
My
anything.
daughter and I paint. So we have games like Heroes Quest. They're like kids versions of like D&D, and my daughter and I are now painting the figurines.
It always
for
amazes me how martial artists like tend to always be like
some
what are the
form of
odds?
artistic.
Everybody likes we're nerdy video games
Yep.
or like nerdy tabletop games or 3D printing or like it's always the commonalities. Of
Yeah,
funny.
it's kind of funny.
Got to keep the mind busy.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it, and then we're keeping the body busy, obviously.
Yes, yes.
How do we match it with the mind? You can't just go to work every day. You drone out and you lose it. You got to keep pushing it around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, not of all.
especially as
of
you're
us
getting
are-
older. Like it's way harder when you get older.
Oh yeah, it'll go into snooze quick.
Yes, yes.
It does keep you sharp though, like doing like 3D printing, programming, exercise. Like you got to do it all.
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
just focus on one area.
Gotta be well rounded.
Oh yeah,
It does keep
absolutely.
you sharp. But you wouldn't know. You're too young over there.
Okay.
This is the 40 and older side of the couch.
That's why I'm just over here.
Like I said, my oldest son's almost as old as him.
Right? He's just 21, right?
21. Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
be 22
Close.
Christmas Day.
What are you now? 26. Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's so
like the one day when he said his back hurt, he's getting old.
you're like go
And then,
that way.
especially with Butch in the class, because Butch is what 66 now, I
Oh
think.
my god!
I was like, you can't say that around
It was
us.
too funny because him and Jay were going back and forth about how sore they were after MMA class, and there's another MMA guy, Steve Hayes, was in there. He was like, "How old are you guys again?" And he goes, "Yeah, you guys will get there." Like Steve Hayes is a little older than them. I think Steve Hayes is your age, Nick. But he was talking about like, oh man,
Put the
I
gloves
have
on.
this problem with my knee and this and that, and then all I hear from the back of the room is Butch going, "Oh my god."
I love it. I love
He's
it.
like 66,
I love it.
67. He's like, all of you need to shut up.
Well, that's when the kids say they're tired, and then Mary walks in, and I'm like, Mary's
yeah.
what, like
Mary's here,
62?
like, every
whatever.
and
day.
Mary's like the spryest of us all.
Oh, she's awesome.
Master Alex's mom, Mary, who's the second degree of ours, she's at the school almost every day, and she's got now 8 grandkids.
And she's
I
like
know.
5 foot even, right?
And
And she
she's
gets in with the
terrifying.
big guy. Oh,
Oh,
man,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
not.
she's
She'll
in-
go. She'll
But
go.
I always laugh when you and I work out together because we're like, you're like my main training partner these days. We train together all the time.
Yeah.
And I have to remind you sometimes, like, you're 15 years younger than me. Almost 16.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
He's
man,
a quick little one, isn't he?
I
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
all
He's
over the
scrappy.
place.
Got it
He's
from.
scrappy. He's scrappy.
Yeah.
Well, you and I have never
I'm trying to
actually
keep it
sparred.
up with
Yeah.
them.
So if you see the way I spar, that's my.
Yeah, no, that's not my style. That jumping around and moving a
You're
lot.
Still, I'd say you're probably still the most light-footed and nimble-footed out of the guys in the MMA class, not counting Mike Shannon, I would say.
I enjoy
would say-
spar- I
Mike
enjoy-
can move. For
I
a tall
enjoy
guy.
sparring Mike Shannon. Like
I would
when we
say
get together on
out of
Thursday.
Is Mike more of like a Dan Smith type of sparring?
No.
very
Mike
different.
Mike is more like a mix of like he's light-footed, he's nimble, he's got good movement.
He's
but
more like,
he's definitely
I'm going to get you.
he's definitely more of a
I'm
pocket
going to
fighter.
get you.
Nice.
Like Dan's range.
Yes.
Dan Smith is very range.
Mike would like to get
Mike,
close.
Mike gets in the
He
pocket.
wants to
I
get
like to
close.
be in the pocket.
But Mike
too.
also
That's
understands how to light spar.
Yes.
Not that Dan doesn't. Dan doesn't, but Mike
No, Mike's pretty-
understands how to.
You can get inside and
flow.
still not have to fully lay someone.
Correct. Yeah. Mike knows how to.
Yeah, we get in trouble every once in a while.
But
The other guys.
That's all right.
Not so much.
Got
not
to.
so much, Joe. I would say.
Mike spars.
You nicer, Joe. It's nice of you.
Mike spars a little closer to like a Rob.
Okay,
A
that
little
makes
closer
sense.
To like a Rob.
No, Rob can get in, but Rob likes it. Rob, again, these guys have long legs, so they're not afraid to use them.
I guess, yeah.
Like if you don't
A
have your
little- a
hands
little
up,
close to
you know
the
the radio
Yeah, I
dial's
guess
going up
so.
fast.
Yeah, that reach is rough sometimes.
You've got, and for me, I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. So I'd rather be inside and figure out what's going to happen from there with those two guys. Because they're about the same. Mike's and Rob are very similar. Mike's a little bit thicker than Rob, but size-wise, they're almost exactly the same
Okay.
as far as their builds.
Yeah, no, I enjoy moving with those guys though. The last time, the 2 Thursdays, the last Thursday we worked out, Mike and I rolled for what, like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just about.
We just put the bell on and went for like 5 minutes rolling.
Oh, that's a long time.
That is a long,
I
that's a
forgot,
lifetime.
though, Mike's a lot thicker than like a
Yes.
Dan or a Rob.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
I
yeah.
had forgotten
He's
how thick he was.
200 pounds? 200 pounds.
So like, I forgot how thick he was. We were moving. I was like, "Oh man, you're thicker than I thought you were." Like,
yeah,
that's
he's about 200 pounds.
because like he's similar in height to Rob and Dan, but both Rob and Dan are a little on the slender side.
Yeah, he just carries.
He's
Great
got a-
fighters,
yeah.
great fighters, but Mike's got that little thickness to him. So when you like,
That was still one of my.
you rap on him or you grab on him, you're like, "Oh, okay."
That was still one of my favorite second-degree tests because it was Mike and
it together,
Rob
yeah.
took it together.
Yeah.
And Mike landed. Was it Mike that landed the scissor kick? And
Yeah, but they were going
Take it,
back
Amy?
and forth.
Mike landed a scissor takedown live during the match. Just ran up, and then immediately afterwards, Rob lands a Superman punch.
Yeah.
I mean they were
They
going
were-
to town,
Yeah,
and it
Master Paul let
was.
him roll for a
Oh
they were,
my
like,
gosh! Just
slugging at each
we
other
were
for a
too
little
busy
bit.
cheering to stop the fight. We're like, we'll just keep going.
They were trading shots quite fiercely.
Like, where's the popcorn at?
Yeah, no, it's
And they've known each other for years.
Yeah.
Like I used to teach them
they
when
switched
Tom's River
well,
first opened.
the running joke is because when they were kids, Mike had short hair and Rob had long hair.
Yes.
And
Yep.
now it's the exact reverse.
Yeah, now-
They're
yeah, now
in
Mike's-
adulthood.
Yeah, now Mike's
Quasi-adulthood.
religious looking. I love
That's
it.
one way to put it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's
And
Yeah,
he
no,
doesn't
I-
quite have the beard.
no,
Yet.
yeah, it's never too late.
No, Joe figured I don't have it here, so I will have it here.
Yeah.
Have to have it.
It's my choke defense.
You can't
It
find the
is-
neck.
it
Can't
does.
find
Gets
the
in the
neck.
way.
It
It
does
gets in
work.
the way.
Is.
It does work.
Not even
100% gets in the
Yep.
way.
If you don't follow the neckline from the back, you're not getting it.
Well,
Yeah.
The only way you're choking him is with the collar chokes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got to
That's
get
it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
use the collar chokes.
Use
That's
whatever
the
you
only
got.
thing
you
get.
can
can't get the rear
trace
neck.
it across
Yeah.
from the back.
From the back,
Yeah,
yeah.
back with the, like, the
But even
forearm
that's
choke,
still-
the forearm
Yeah.
chokes from the
It is
front,
quite
like the
annoying.
Ezekiel choke,
It
always
works,
gets in
though.
the way.
There's a constant, and you can never get it straight because they've done a study a couple times whether or not a beard cushions your chin from when you get hit.
I don't see
Don't know
it
about
cushioning
that.
much.
It's gone back and forth.
It probably does a little.
I mean,
something,
not a
but
noticeable
It's-
amount. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot tougher to give you an ox jaw, right? To hit you in the throat because I can't
Yeah,
find
you,
it.
if you can't hit what you can't
It's a
see.
guess, you know.
Yeah, that's the one thing, and I'd rather the beard get pulled than get choked. So it's like,
So how
Get
many
in-
years vested into that bad boy? Because that is
I
a
forgot.
that's a nice looking beard, my friend.
oh, thank you. I forget now.
Does your wife like it?
She tolerates it.
Fair enough.
So-
fair enough.
She has
There you
only
go.
she has only seen me clean shaven once,
Hated it, right?
and it's like never again.
So my wife's the same way. So this is as short as I can go. Like right now, I'm at my trim max. Like, and it's only got to be. She's so specific. It's a goatee. Because I
Well, see, it's funny when I first started at
Can't
you
be
know
clean-shaven.
for the army, I had a goatee. And someone made the comment, he's like, "Oh, you got a goatee just like your father." I'm like, "Oh, it's coming off." I was like, "Because we're working together, we're working in the same building." Like, "Oh,
He said, just like your father.
yeah." I was like, "Nope, we're
no.
changing it. Like that's it." And I had tried to get it grow for years, but you always get that itchy phase,
Yep.
and it's terrible.
I'm familiar
It
with
is
it.
terrible.
And for work, I got sent on back-to-back trips, and so I was home for a couple days, and then on another 2-week trip, and I didn't get time to shave. And so at that point, I was like, I can't do anything about it. Traveling all around, and it was like I got past that phase, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, just keep going now.
It's not that bad.
So that's probably 10 years, I think. And I think it's at its max length now. That's about it.
Now,
Where
do
it's
you
gonna
get it trimmed? Like someone keeps it
Every-
framed out for you?
every couple, because it's really easy to shave your own head. Like
Yeah.
that's the easy part.
Yep.
Real cheap haircuts.
Yeah.
So probably every 3 or 4 times to shave my head. If I'm getting Alex a haircut, I'll go get a haircut with the same guy. Hard to trust someone with the beard when you've been growing it for 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of trust. Like you don't want to mess it up. So I used to do it a lot. In my old house, I had like a trifold mirror.
Yep.
But now at the new house, I only have a flat mirror. Like I can't see.
Ugh.
So I was like, it's every couple months. I'll just have someone trim it up a little bit.
And you haven't asked for a trifold mirror for Christmas? Come on, man. Come on, Joe. You're like, listen, I'm not trying to be a prima donna, but
Trifold mirror, please.
Yeah,
Like,
it's funny
I need
though.
it.
It's funny though, like the way my wife's the same way, clean shaven. We met, I was clean shaven.
Oh, see, I had the full scruff.
When
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
When we met, I was clean shaven, but nobody. Every time I clean shave, nobody in my life is like, "Hey, that looks good." They're like,
you should hide your face.
Yeah,
You've got a
need
face for
something.
radio and beard.
Yeah, I always had the scruff, and like I said, I always wanted to grow it because it grows really well in my family. We always referred to my brother as the missing link.
Nice.
His knuckles drag when he walks.
funny. It's the same way. My beard grows really fast.
Yeah, it's just
something about
some
it.
it went south for the winter and never came back. So yeah, I always had the scruff, and then I think at work one time we were like, "Oh, yeah, to see who can grow the beard the fastest." So we all went clean shaven, and I don't even think I was married at the time. And I was like, "No, don't do that again. You got to have something."
Yeah, if you want
So-
this to last.
Yeah, like that. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, I've never met him, and I don't want to meet him again.
So walk us through like the beard maintenance routine.
There is none.
What
Oh,
is-
jeez.
Oh, no, there's definitely.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's more work at this point.
It has to.
Oh
be.
yeah,
Um,
it has to be.
Then
To try not to look homeless.
Yeah, you gotta shave.
I'm like, you know what, like things all over the place.
oils. And,
Yeah, so I got Beard Balm, beard oil. I've been using the same guy. He makes all his own stuff. I can shout him out. 1740 Beard Balm.
1740.
Hand makes all his own stuff. Great guy. He's out west somewhere. And I started using him. I don't remember how I found him. I was using like another more commercial, readily available stuff. And then I found this guy. He's like, all right, it's all handmade, all done by himself.
Nice.
And I started using that product, and phenomenal. And I was early on, before he had his website up.
Yeah.
It was just like a PayPal email you'd get, and he's like, all right, here's the voucher. You just pay it, and like any issues, real quick to respond.
oh, yeah, that's always good. But I like when it's quick.
Yeah, so I've 8 or 9 years now. I've been using his stuff, and it's phenomenal. So I switch back and forth between beard oil, beard balm.
Have you ever seen those things on Amazon where it's like a
The straightener? Yeah.
like the hot comb? For the
I'm curious if it works, but like that's even more work. I'm like, I'm trying to go low maintenance with the no hair on top.
Now,
so-
are you bearded here? Or
no,
do you
no,
cut it
no
up,
neck beard,
right
no
up
neck
here?
beard. Yeah, I can't do the neck beard.
Yeah.
That gets
Too much.
and I can't do the long mustache.
Yeah.
If it gets in my food, it's got to go.
Well, that's the
Like,
thing. Like for me, if I were to grow it, it's trimming here all
Yes,
the time.
yes.
Yeah,
Constant.
that's what happens to me, too, when I let it go, and I'm like, nah.
You
Yeah,
got
like
it.
I
I don't want to be licking it. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, with the big mustache that goes in front of your mouth. I can't do that. That's like it just gets in the way.
Yeah.
This is enough. The mustache has to stay short. Like
Yeah.
I don't like it in my food. Like I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I don't need to taste it later. I'm good.
Yeah, I try to keep it clean. So yeah, just the beard balm, beard oil, and you brush and comb.
There you go.
And that's about it.
Nice. All right. And then shout out your guy one more time.
1740 beard balm.
1740. And then you're going to get us your son's site so we can check that
Yeah,
out too.
yeah.
That'd be really cool.
So,
I love it.
did you get these before you listened? Did your wife get these before Kickin and Crocs?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
very
You had those
good,
before
very
that.
good.
Yeah. So I've had these for a little while. When we got
So you're a Crocs fan, you would say?
um,
Oh, he paused.
You're.
I'm gonna wear them.
Fair
So
enough. Listen, I wear sneakers. I'm not
Listen, I'm
fans
gonna
of the
find-
sneakers all the time.
That's my hidden talent, aside from martial arts. Is I will find a good pair of Crocs that you'll be like, oh man.
I don't have a problem with them. I can't wear them for work, but
I'll find
Dave
one.
will find a pair.
There's
actually no.
There's on
So,
the clock Crocs.
No,
that
I
you-
used to. They the Crocs with the felt like the
Yep.
the black one. So I would wear them for work.
They make on the clock sneakers. They make on the clock. They got a bunch of different.
Yeah,
things
so it
now.
was the black fabric
no,
tops with them. So I wore them for a couple years to work.
Yep.
So yes, I have worn Crocs to work.
Yukons. I got them.
Yukons. Nice.
Although I
figured
find
you had 'em.
my feet get hot in those.
Yeah.
Great in the winter.
Great.
And then when we got a puppy years back, during COVID and everything like that. We had our one dog, and then my wife's like, we got time now. We should get another dog. So I needed shoes to put on quickly to take the dog out,
outside,
especially in the winter or when it's raining.
Yeah, just throw and go.
Yeah,
throw and go.
I was like, I need a pair. So I got a pair. Actually got me the fur line ones because it was in winter, and those are nice.
They're great.
Not great in the summer, but they're great.
No, not great in the summer, but great to just take the dogs out really
Yep.
quick.
Oh yeah.
So I have them for that, and like I said, I have no problem with them.
I got a wide variety of them, but I could always find like ones that you're like, these are more comfortable. These are
Yeah.
the Echoes
He's
are
almost
my-
losing his copy of the keys to the front door. Like
My
almost
Echoes are my favorite. These are my favorite.
for
The
now.
Echo varieties are pretty comfortable. But
See,
I
I'm all about
I still like
comfort
my
now.
light rides.
I'm all about comfort now.
yeah,
so.
oh yeah. You know,
Yeah. Well, especially
Comfort's where
again,
it's
you're on and off your feet all the time, right? You're doing your program. You got to check it out. You got to make sure it works.
well,
You're
and
really-
then when you fly, because you're gonna be flying
Even with your team.
traveling a lot.
Yeah.
are you
wear
doing a lot
something
of
to slip
traveling?
on,
So actually, for my birthday, I'm pretty sure my son bought them first, and they didn't fit. The pair of slides that my son got.
oh yeah, you wore them at the
yeah.
after the Spartan
Yeah.
Race. Yeah.
So those are super. Yeah,
you
those are.
travel with those. That's your go-to flight.
Yeah, that or just slip-on sneakers.
Yeah, something easy.
With TSA pre-check, you don't got to take
I
your
was
shoes
gonna
off.
say
So
you got to pre-check.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
you
too,
have to.
yeah.
You guys both travel a lot.
So
So.
I get it through work. So
Yeah, I don't
which
do
is nice.
international though. I do domestic.
Yeah, but you do domestic.
Yeah.
You fly.
Yeah. Yeah. In the busier times, I'm probably like once or twice a month. Yeah.
Yeah, I
going
used to.
around.
I mean, early on in my career, I traveled a lot, all over the country. Sadly, the military doesn't put bases in nice parts of the country.
No.
Like,
my wife used to travel a lot too. So I used to go to like her least favorite. I think was like Klein in Texas. Is that in Texas?
Oh,
Like,
Clean?
Clean. Yeah.
Killeen, Texas.
She's
It's a
like-
dry town. Well, it used to be a dry town when I used to go there. So that's right outside of. Well, it was Fort Hood. I don't remember what it's called now, because they changed all the names.
Yeah.
But been there many times. We stayed
Yeah.
in Killeen.
And she was like in the Pentagon a couple times, and a couple of really cool places.
Yeah, when I first started, the system I work on had just fielded. They're rolling it out to the whole Army, so we would go out and help with the training on it. It was like a 2-week training course, and we'd go out to deal with the soldiers, help train them, see how they're using it. In an invaluable experience when you're a programmer because you program your stuff, you send it out.
Yeah, is it working the way I thought it would?
Yeah, or it's are they using it the way I thought we should do it, and it never is true.
Yeah. Man, application is wild.
Yeah. So I think I was in Fort Stewart, Georgia in like July. 100% humidity, 100 degrees
Oh, no.
outside.
And it gets crazy
No.
humid there.
yeah,
because of all the trees.
and the flies that like take a chunk out of
you're
you.
in the middle of a
It's insane.
You're in a forest in Georgia anyway. Man,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and it was just it was
They're
miserable.
like, let's not clear any land. Just build the buildings in between
Yeah.
the stuff that's there.
Those like horse flies.
Yeah.
So we Master Paul took us all kayaking, canoeing one year, and Master Andrew, got eaten
Yeah.
alive by those things. So we did the kayaking, the canoeing, and then we went back to Master Paul's house. He literally had to go. He was like, his whole arm was destroyed. He doesn't have like an allergic reaction. He had to go get like,
You know it's bad when the fly bites you and you can see where it bit you.
Oh, my
You're
God.
like, oh, yeah. So that was like one of my first trips. Then Fort Hood in like August, in the middle of Texas, and then I was in
Texas is hot.
Anchorage, Alaska in February.
oh, nice.
Oh, she's never done that.
I was just like,
I think she would have.
So from hot to cold.
I was like, can
But
we,
it's not
I was like,
only
I'd
hot
like
to
go
cold; it's the
somewhere in
worst
middle.
times,
Yeah.
right?
Like we always did like a week of classroom and then a week in the field. And the first day we roll out in the field in Alaska was minus 15.
Oh no.
Well, that was like last year. I had to go. So I got a role last year, and I started in May in that specific role. In June, they're like, "Yeah, can you head out to Arizona?" The end of June, it's 110 degrees,
Yes, it
and I'm
is.
like,
I
awesome.
spent many trips-
I feel
actually,
like I'm in an oven. You know?
In June, I was just out in Yuma, Arizona, in the middle
we
of the
were in
desert.
Tempe. Yeah.
Tempe's a great town.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
really
of
a lot of
good
things.
restaurants and
Yeah.
bars in Tempe. Great food. It's a college town, so like all kinds
As
of good
long as
places.
you can get through it.
Well, yeah.
So
Very
by the
empty
way,
in June and July.
this year I went May.
Okay.
Early May. I'm like, I'm not playing that around. And we were able to go enjoy,
I've been there once in like the winter time, and it was such a different
Beautiful.
experience.
So
but
nice.
we always seem to go there in the middle of the summer. Like I said, I was just there in June. It was 110 outside.
Yep.
Jesus,
Yep.
that's
And
Too much.
It's a dry heat. I'm like, so is my oven. I don't sit in it.
Exactly.
Like-
They have those misters now almost everywhere. I'm like running to the mister. I'm like, I will be right
The
there.
army doesn't invest in them.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about
Yeah.
like the restaurants.
Yes.
will have them.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll go from the
We
building
didn't
to
have
the
any of
mister.
that.
it's always
Yeah.
interesting seeing how like what like misters there like what they put in different like in New Jersey if you go in the winter everybody's got their heat lamps.
Yep.
So
Well,
you got a
well,
bar,
here-
you're under your heat lamp.
Here,
and,
in Arizona, all of their parking is covered because if not, you'll melt dashboards and stuff. It's like it's
Yeah.
done. So
Yeah.
you don't have like a parking lot without covers. Like,
Like,
they're
yeah.
covered. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets real hot. And,
that's a hard pass.
Especially
I
when
like
you-
a little heat.
especially
Not
when
that
you're
much.
sitting in a tank made of metal in the sun.
You got cover.
Are tanks air conditioned?
Wait a minute.
No.
Hold on. Is
No
it?
air conditioning
Are the
in the
tanks
tank?
black though? Like the mats were?
No,
They
it's-
run?
it's-
Okay.
So there's
Desert tan.
So
Nice.
there's no air conditioners.
Nope.
So
No.
Are they? But all seriousness, is it simply because there's no room to put anything? Because aren't they nervous
So
that
if
you
you're-
guys
if you're-
would
if you're
actually
in-
pass out on duty?
Yeah,
I'm
if you're in
serious.
battle,
I don't know how they do it. And God bless those guys that do it because it's crazy.
My
but,
friend is a tank operator. So
Yeah.
like, I never even asked him about the air conditioning. Think about that.
the new version of the Abrams tank is air conditioned, and I think that was released years ago. The stuff I work on is mortars, so most of the mortar vehicles they roll around with the top open because that's where they shoot out of.
They
Yeah.
go big boom.
Yes, big bada boom. So they usually have the top open, and they're
Yeah,
when you're driving down, and when we used to do training, you're just standing in the back.
Yeah.
So your head's sticking out, and you're driving, but it still gets really hot.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how those
So-
guys do it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like the heat. I like the cold.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get
I
that.
like a moderate. I mean, I like heat, but not too much.
Actually, that's like our first
This summer's
our
been
first
my
race
zone.
when
Go
we
ahead.
did the sprint at Vernon. So Jay's about similar size to me. It was cold. It was rainy.
Yeah.
And it was our first race.
I hate it. I hate
And-
cold and rainy.
Yeah,
Dave and
terrible.
Steve kept making the comment like, "Oh, if you're having fun here, because we were having a ball, we were loving it. It was muddy, it was wet, it was cold. Like, oh, if you're having fun with this, you got to try it with when it's warm and
Yeah.
when it's not rainy and cold, and which was a lie.
Not Palmerton. We were talking about
So my favorite experience with that. We had a couple people we were waiting for. We go through the dunk wall,
Underwater.
and I think you
Yeah.
usually skip the dunk wall when it's cold.
I usually skip it.
We
when
kind
it's
of
raining.
peer pressured them into the dunk wall, and we're standing there afterwards waiting for some people to
Yeah.
come down the trail. And all I hear is teeth chattering.
Yeah.
You were
Like-
freezing.
Steve and Dave like just like teeth chattering, freezing, and like I look over at Jay and he looks and there's steam coming off of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is really nice. Like cools you off after all that running and exercising. I was
yeah.
hot.
He's the same way as me. Like when we get like wet and it's raining and it's cold,
can't get
like,
warm
Your
again.
temperature
Yeah.
drops.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
even if
it's
we get
bad.
moving, it's hard to get warm again. These guys are fine.
No, I'm that way
actually,
too.
I was Jay and I just standing there, steam coming off of
Nah.
us. Like we got to get moving. I was
I'm like-
I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying this. This is nice.
I'm
have to
gonna
move.
dunk back the other way.
Yeah.
That's like Danielle that runs with us. If it's cold, she won't go under the. She can't get warm. Her exact words are, and this is an exact quote. Once my armpits get wet, it's over. That's
Wow.
So
it-
that's when she
Okay.
gets cold. So she's like, if my armpits get wet going under the water, it's cold already.
that's
I'm
got to
done.
be something on
And
a
I'm-
T-shirt.
I'm
That's
like-
got to be.
I'm like,
That's the
okay.
list.
And I will
All
say,
right.
after running City Field and now Palmerton in the summer, the cold is way better.
Oh yeah.
Way better. Because I especially if I'm exercising, I'm not getting cold.
First of all, those races were extreme heat.
Yeah, they were. They
Right.
were.
Those were
It's
bad.
not normally 90-something degrees in New Jersey.
Until next year.
Until next summer.
No, this has been an
And
interesting.
It's been an unusually
I mean,
hot summer.
This July for it to be 90 degrees almost every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Right.
The grass was
Dry,
crunchy.
too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's been very hot.
Dry.
But you're gonna do more races.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Will I do Palmerton again? I don't know.
Danielle's already clicked interested in the race on Facebook for next year. And my wife already commented on her, like, what's wrong with you? But we're going to do it. I mean, we're going to do it.
We do it every year. We did it every year
except for, like, Alex's wedding.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it was, like, the day before Alex's wedding the one year. We're like,
slackers.
We're not going to do that.
Slackers.
We can't do the day before.
You watch Steve hit 30, be like, I don't know, guys. I'm a little old for this. I'm 30. All right.
Dude, but he's 30.
Stop where we were. Him 30. That's where we stopped. No one's talking to
Good
you.
Lord.
No, it's only 4 years. I'm 55 in 4 years. What's the matter with you?
Math's hard.
Yeah, exactly. Math is
He
so
just stuck on
He's
that
gonna act
15-year
like it.
difference. He's like, what's 15?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
That's the way
Might
he's
feel
gonna act,
55,
though.
but
Yeah.
So that's the way he's going to act.
Listen, math is different now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he hates the fact that we figured out that technically,
Oh, God, stop it.
he could be my son if I had him in high school.
Nicole and I say it all the time because Rob goes around saying he's one of my kids, and it's
Yeah.
fine. We love the
I keep trying to
humor
tell him,
around
like,
it.
yeah, if you were
but I'm like, here's the
degenerate,
thing:
yeah,
you could
sure.
actually be my kid. Like
Yeah,
you could,
no,
because
yeah.
when he was born, we were getting out of college, so it's like, sure.
And here's me with the 21-year-old.
yeah, you can actually be my kid. Seriously, he's right there. You guys are at the bar drinking together. Yeah.
Well,
So to end it off, we have something we would like you to react to because Nick just got done making this awesome little like intro video, cool little thing with a couple of different clips from Kickin.
so you actually listen to the podcast.
Yeah, I try to listen when I can. Yeah.
Reportedly, you
I don't always get through the full hour, but I watch as often as I can.
You have to
So-
bail on us
Yeah.
sometimes. I
Yeah.
understand.
He's like, once
We
the
get
verse,
ranty.
Yeah.
Well,
we get
go
rambly.
it's more everything gets in get pulled in multiple different directions.
Am I hitting
Too many
play on
kids.
this?
All right,
So
ready?
wait, hang on. So just to preface for the audio listeners, I will have the audio inserted. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be a version of the YouTube video overlaid. But this is like the first audience test we have for this video. Joe is going to be
Be kind.
our live reaction.
Be kind. Hold on.
And
You know what?
in
Make sure
This
this-
was all
No,
made by
wait.
AI.
this
by
was
the way.
all made by AI. So
No, I.
Those are the
edited
best
it.
videos.
no, Nick edited
No,
it.
he
The song.
edited
Yeah,
here we
the
go.
video's not great. So.
In
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Fast kicks and punches, we enjoy the fun. Shouting with interest in people while styling while we run. It's kicking in Crocs. We're kicking in Crocs.
Love it.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I love it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Thinking a little Saved by the Bell influence.
Yes.
So I was like, where
Which all the younger viewers will be like, what,
Yeah, what is that exactly?
A bell?
So Saved by the Bell. The interesting thing about Saved by the Bell, and this is my favorite Saved by the Bell story. It has nothing to do with the actual show.
So, Steve, you could zone out here. You know what that is.
I know what Saved by the Bell is. I've watched
A
it.
kid comes up to me I'm going to say 2019. It was pre-COVID. And he goes, Master Dave, I'm watching a show on Nick at Night. It's a show from the 1900s. It said it just like that. It's called Saved by the Bell. It's a show Have you ever heard of it?
Wow.
It took
I
every-
love that.
Every
what it is
fiber of my
now?
being, not
Is
to
that
choke him right across.
Is that what the
He said the
1900s?
1900s.
No.
What is wrong?
Look,
So like, are we talking 1920?
but you got to say it now, right? When you go to the
1901?
age category and you're like,
He was in
why am I
middle
still
school.
flicking?
He was in
What is
middle
it?
He was a middle school kid at the time, but he said 1900s. And Saved by the Bell, Nick at Night. And I was like, wait, why is Saved by the Bell, Nick at Night? That's for like Get Smart and like.
Yeah.
No, that's for like Mr. Ed. What are you talking about? That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah.
Green Acres.
Heroes.
Green Acres,
Green Acres.
yeah. The Brady Bunch. That's where you throw it.
The old show.
Seinfeld.
Yeah, not
Oh,
the.
boy.
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. It goes on
No,
at night. Doesn't it go on at
not
night?
Nick at Night.
Not a naked. What is the?
Yeah.
No, but I was
Oh,
talking more
my
talking
God.
No,
about
he
the
doesn't
shows they put
know.
on.
He doesn't know.
Nick at Night was like when you.
No, Sanford and Son. You
Oh,
know,
see, I never had Nick. or
The
any-
Three
Oh,
Stooges.
So
Come
Nick
on.
at
Never had any of
Night
that.
would be Nick like
I'm assuming it has to be Nickelodeon.
it was Nickelodeon, and it
Okay.
would be
Yeah, I never
your,
had
your
Nickelodeon in my
parents'
house as a kid.
generation shows.
I never had that.
Like before, so
Package on cable.
so like Mr. Ed.
So
Green
it was,
Acres.
assuming the kids are asleep and the parents are watching Nickelodeon, so it was like
Gotcha.
the older shows.
Yeah.
Which is why it's
that's how.
Sad.
That's when Saturday morning cartoons were a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
so
before
now
streaming.
shows that we grew up with are on Nick at Night, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, like, oh.
Wait, are you serious? Saved by the Bells on Nick at Night?
It was a couple
Apparently.
years ago, as was.
It's probably already past it now. It's like, oh, now it's just
As
old.
was
That's way
Full
too
House.
old.
Full House was.
Oh man.
Funny enough, so my Alex started watching Family Matters. Loves it.
Great
Loves
show.
it.
Great show.
Loves it.
Yes, culture him. Yes.
It's a great show.
It's crazy when I'm sitting there working, and all of a sudden in the other room I hear, "Did I do that?" I'm like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Oh," and he loved it.
It's such a good
It's
show.
a good show, yeah.
And it's such a great character build in that
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Like
It's always
everybody.
interesting to me when like old shows, like kids are discovering. Like I can't believe how many kids watch Friends now.
Right.
Oh,
it
really?
Came back around. Yeah.
Yeah, and The Office. A lot of
Office
kids got
came back
obsessed.
around.
with
Well,
The Office.
that's timeless.
I'm like,
My daughter likes like the Disney shows, so she's watching what the Miley Cyrus
Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana.
Oh,
She's
wow, yeah,
watching
yeah.
that.
Hannah
Yeah,
Montana was good.
yeah, she's watching
Before
it. She
Miley
loves
Cyrus
it.
went crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right,
She
well,
likes that.
comfort
I
mode.
think it is.
comfort mode. Let's do
All right,
it.
let's kick this clock to comfort mode. That
All
means,
right
that
then,
means
gang.
we've hit.
We
Okay.
actually have. This is now officially the longest podcast episode that we.
Yes,
have.
Joseph.
Joe, let's go, man. Thank you so much for joining us today, Joe.
Yeah, it's been a lot of
And
fun.
let's wrap this up. If you have not already, make sure you follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Kickin and Crocs. KICKIN.in.Crocs.
CROCS.
The best.
And subscribe to us on YouTube to watch the video versions of this podcast, and leave your comments below if you have any opinions on any of the topics that we talked about today. Anything, the video that we just had Joe react to. If you guys have any comments, you want to give us
Also react.
your reactions. And one more time, if you could shout out the 3D printing Instagram.
So it's Cope 3D Prints.
Cope
KOPE.
KOP 3D print.
Nice.
So make sure you guys go give that a follow to see some awesome 3D printing stuff. And if you're listening on audio only, then you should give us
5 stars. 5 stars all day long, or as many stars as it allows you to do based on what you're using. And then again, it is summer. You're having barbecues. We should be on the air, on every radio, at every barbecue. If you're putting a burger in your mouth and not listening to Kickin' and Crocs, you're not enjoying the full flavor. So make sure you do that.
It's kicking in, Crocs. Well, until next time, I've been Steve.
Always Dave.
Still Nick.
And Joe.
And Joe.
Also
And
Joe.
you stay kicking, Internet.
Later.
Shining with interest in people while styling while we run. It's Kickin' in Crocs. We're kicking in Crocs.